Good morning, everyone. Happy Father's Day to all of you. Even if you're not a father, that's okay. So, who has heard me speak and or play before here? Okay, a lot of you. Okay, so most of you know my story, so I won't go through the whole detail on it, but I will share a little bit of it with some of you because the background is kind of important. And I will say that I have talked, this is about the second or third time I've talked here, and it has, as you mentioned, it has been somewhat of a growing process because up until about 2 years ago, really all I did was, and I say really, all I did is as if it's a small thing, but what I mean is that all I did up to that point was really just write and compose my songs, which have been for many years, starting around 1998 is when I really started writing because I started the spiritual transformation, and I would get these songs in my dreams, and usually in an answer to a prayer or to a request about getting over something, or I'd have a big aha about something that really made a difference in my life, and I would ask for a song, and I usually get them in my dreams. Wake up the next morning, and before I even was able to go to the bathroom most times, I'm sitting at the piano writing a song. In 20 minutes it's all done, and then it's just a matter of tweaking the arrangement. But so I consider myself just kind of like a transcriber, dictator, a dictation of sorts. And that's what I was doing. And about 2 years ago on 12/12/12, a friend of mine kept saying, you got to come down to Arizona. There's this big thing going on down there with Steve Rother. At the time, I had been doing a lot of training with Jim Self. I don't know if anybody familiar with Jim Self, Mastering Alchemy. Wonderful teacher who's really getting known all over the world at this point. As Steve Rother is huge. He's been a huge channeler and a teacher for many years now. All over the world he's known. So I went down, and even though I was training with Jim Self at the time and had been for several years, I was actually performing music at some of his events, and I actually did sound editing for Jim's classes. So I got to get his classes, his Mastering Alchemy training really in depth, because when everybody else would be done with hearing the class live, Jim would give me the recording, and then I'd take it up to the studio, and I'd take out all the, the little burps and the clips and all the little things that, you don't hear live, but when you're listening to it on a recording, of course, that stuff stands out. So I would spend hours on a 45-minute talk, 2 hours, 3 hours, cleaning it up and getting it ready, which means I spent a lot of time absorbing the energy, and what he had to say. So anyway, my friend said, come on down here. So I didn't go to Jim's class. Jim was down there about a mile from where I was, and I went to Steve Rother's instead. And Steve had a wonderful lineup that particular year. He had Steve Rother himself was there, of course, and Crimson Tide, with us, Gregory Hop, Peggy Phoenix Dubrow. I don't know if anybody's familiar with them. And some of those people have spoke here. Jim Self has spoken here, and I don't know if Steve Rother has or not, and there were others there, so it was just a wonderful lineup for about 3 or 4 days, and I continued to say, I went there with the intention of just opening up to whatever was the next step for me. So we're in day 2, which is 12/12/12, and it was kind of ironic, and I still get a little humor and a kick out of this, because sometimes Spirit answers you in ways that you're not really expecting so much, but I just said, just give me whatever you want to give me. I want more. I don't know what more is, but just give it to me. And about an hour before noon on 12/12/12, which is ironic if you think about it, 12/12/12 at noon, I started hearing this really weird frequency in my head. It was just a loud, it almost sounded like just a high vocal toning that just kept going on. And it was very noticeable. And I even at one point looked around to see if it was something that was actually generating this sound in the workshop. I thought maybe, they were generating this somehow because it was part of the workshop, but it wasn't. It was just in my head, and I kept looking around wondering what's going on. And it got louder and louder and louder as the thing went on, and I just got to a point where I just kind of let it go and let it be, and just figured I do have a little bit of tinnitus from playing loud music for so many years, and I thought maybe my tinnitus is really just acting up today, And so I let that go. We ended the workshop. It was wonderful. Everybody went home. About 10 days later, I'm laying in bed. I wake up just bolt in the night, about 3 a.m., and I just hear this spiritual voice inside me saying, you asked for more, and we're here. And, at first you're thinking, I must be dreaming, or am I just talking to myself? But this was a very clear group of beings that were just sitting there speaking to me saying, you asked for more. And it's hard for me to talk about it because there was so much love that accompanied this that it's almost overwhelming. But they said, you asked for more and we're here. And it was a group of initially Arcturians, and I don't know if you're familiar with these different frequencies. There's Pleiadians. Christine Day works with Pleiadians, which is a very beautiful energy. The Arcturians are slightly different, but it's, a lot of these teachers are bringing in these beautiful beings and energies that are just here to help us, and that's all these group is here. They said, you asked for more and we're here, and we have a lot to say, so hang with us. This is going to be a fun ride, but some stuff's going to happen you're not going to be comfortable with initially because it's going to require you to let go a lot. And that was an understatement. So, because when I channel this group, I just have to really literally trust and believe and have faith that they're going to come and they're going to talk and say something hopefully it does embarrass me. And they haven't. And they've been very beautiful about it. It's wonderful. I've done a lot of channelings now. I've done it for a number of groups. I've done it here before. So that's kind of my story. Since then, I've been doing more writing and music. Another thing that happened at that time is that up until that time, I was really just recording. I'm on my third album now, which I'm going to be recording here very, very soon. But the first two albums were completely channeled in my dreams, and I just wrote them as I got them. I tweaked the arrangements a little bit, but the words and the music were basically what I was given. So it was dictated to me, and I took the dictation, and I recorded the songs, and I love what they helped me with there. But when this happened, they said, with the songs, we're going to change this a little bit now. And because the shift is happening, and everybody knows what the shift is when I say about the shift, right? Everybody's heard. We're full swing in this shift. The energy is happening. They said, we're going to change it a little bit. We know we've been giving this stuff to you in the dreams, and it's been good partnership that way. But the shift is requiring everybody to step up and claim who you are. Who it is that you truly are, deep down inside, where you know that you have the strength, the power, the certainty to be everything that you've always dreamed you could be. And that's where we're heading. And they said, so in that light, we want you to start helping with the songs a little bit. And we want you to start being a co-partner, a co-writer in the song process. So this new album that I got, and I'm going to play some music for you today. Some of you probably heard some of these songs, but I'm going to be playing them because there's frequencies involved with the songs that are going to help with what I want to work with today. And we're going to have some fun today, so I hope you're ready for that. So that's been the second piece of this, is me stepping up and having a little bit more responsibility in terms of saying, okay, let's talk about this song and this idea. And they say, okay, well, here's our ideas. What are your ideas? And we come out, and it's funny because the process is a beautiful process. And as I'm writing, it's almost like having somebody sitting there saying, no, let's try this and change that word, or let's change this phrase here, or that chord is a little bit, got too much of a minor sound. Let's try this one, And it's been a very beautiful process for me. So I hope you enjoy some of the songs I'm going to do. And the new album will be with these new songs. But today, I wanted to just work with you guys and just have some fun with some energy play. I know it's been raining out, and there's a lot of things happening energy-wise. There's a lot of stuff happening all over the world right now, but I sat down and I said, well, what are we going to do? Because I always tune in. Even with my music performances, I'd always tune into the group. I'd literally be thinking about you for 2 or 3 weeks in advance of you arriving here, saying, well, who's going to be there? And what do they need to hear? What kind of frequencies here do they need to feel? What kind of lyrics do they need to hear? What kind of energies do I need to bring to that performance that day so that they get the absolute most out of their attendance and what they hear? And I do that for speaking too, because a dear friend of mine, Mike Foley, you've probably seen me with, comes here. He's a great public speaker, and he's really good at organizing his talks and getting it all done. And I tried that the first time I spoke here. And the group, who I have nicknamed the A-Team, by the way, they're Arcturians, so I nicknamed the A-Team. I don't know how long I'll be able to hold on to that before somebody comes at me with a copyright thing. But the A-Team said, don't even bother with that, because we're going to change it anyway. You're just wasting your time. So and for me to get up here without anything, I'm a Capricorn. And if you know my wife, she'll tell you that I'm like everything organized and detailed and planned out. That's how I feel comfortable. So for me to get up here without anything and just start talking to you and trusting that they're there, which they are right now, and they're saying, okay, point this way right now, say this, move over here, you might want to try this. So for me, it takes a lot of faith just to say, They're going to be there, they're going to help, and to know that I've come to be enough in my own skin to be able to come up here and talk with you about what they're sharing with me and what I've been studying for the last 12 or 15 years. So I asked them about you folks today. About 3 weeks ago, I said, well, what are we going to talk about? Well, it's Father's Day, and what are we going to talk about? I mean, I don't have any songs about fathers. Well, actually I do, but I haven't played it in 15 years, and just didn't seem appropriate. They said, well, don't worry about it. I said, well, yeah, but I know, but give me a hint so I kind of know, so I can relax a little bit about this, all right? I said, oh, don't worry about it. So I started taking about an hour, sometimes more. This morning was a couple hours, and several times this week it's been an hour, hour and a half, where I'll take deep periods of meditation with the group. And we started talking about what we're going to share with you guys today and what we thought might be fun and would be cathartic in some ways and just really open up your energy space. And we came up with the theme of spring cleaning your personal energy space. So that's what we're going to do today. And I'm going to try to make it fun. We're going to have some music, and whenever it seems like the right time to get over there and play some music, I'm going to do that. But it was funny because in the last 3 weeks, as I tune into you guys, we started, it's kind of like we have this whiteboard here, you know how whiteboards are about this size, right? And we sit there talking, and I'm mentally in my mind, and they're telling me, and we're writing all this stuff. Oh, can we do that? I say, yeah, I like that. And we can go here, and we can talk about this. So we write all this stuff on the whiteboard, and it's all full. And I'm like, yeah. But then after you do that, then you got more stuff. Okay, slide that whiteboard down. Now we'll fill out this one, and we'll fill out that one. And by the time I get done, after about 3 weeks of focusing on you guys and checking into this, I've got about 100 whiteboards. A line of about 100 whiteboards with information. There's a lot of information there that's not possible for me to give all of that information today. And I said, well, now what I do? This is a great flow. Well, what do I do with all that? And here's the cool thing that they just told me about this morning, because I was concerned about it. I thought, well, we're just going to do the one whiteboard and leave all the rest go. They said, no, that's not how this is going to work. Let's show you how it's going to work. So imagine if I take a big magic marker. Since that's a whiteboard, it's kind of have to be a bigger one. And it's filled up with all this frequency of light and sound, all these things that we want to have with exchange today, back and forth. And they said, just take that marker and start here and just walk down the whole length of that 100 so line of whiteboards. And you got that big line of light frequencies from here all the way down to the end there. Now I'll take another color. And we went through a whole bunch of different colors. They said, now these colors are connecting all those boards all the way down. Now all we're going to do today is while you're talking and sharing, we're going to share those colors and frequencies with you and with the group. And as we share those, and it might be in your song, it might be when you're talking, it might be when you, and by the way, I will be doing this when I walk up and stand by you. It's not by accident, so Gary on the camera is going to be going, oh, how am I going to get him over there? I've done that to him before where I've been a moving target. So sorry, Gary, it's just the way it's got to go today. So this is going to be fun, so we're just going to play. Are you willing to just have some fun and play with energy space and music and just kind of just let it be what it's going to be? Here's what I like to do today. It's to start off with two things. One is just set an intention today for you to get closer to who it is that you truly want to be in your heart of hearts. If there is a person that you think that you could be that would be better in some way, and we all have something that we would like to be more complete about, more enlightened, more compassionate, more giving, more understanding, more patient, more tolerant. Whatever it is for you, being a better father, being a better mother, being a better friend. It doesn't mean you're bad where you're at now. It just means, could you be better? Could you be more? If you were to go into your heart of hearts and say, who's a person that you would like to envision that you could be with your strength and your certainty and everything coming out of you that's there, that's destined to come out of your heart and your soul and your spirit. And what I would like to today is just set the intention that you're going to get closer to that today. By the time you leave here today, just set the intention in your mind. And the power of intention is so very important. It does amazing things. You know, back in the 60s, we set an intention to put a man on the moon. And we did so with the computer power of probably something that's equal to about 1,000th of what's in your cell phone right now. This was an amazing process. This was an amazing thing. They set their intention on it, we got it done. That's what we do. So intention is very powerful. So I'm going to ask you to do that if you're willing. And just take a moment, take a deep breath, and maybe even close your eyes if you want. And just set the intention for you to see yourself what you want to be in about 50 minutes from now. And what you would like to feel in your heart. How you would like to feel your energy space. Maybe clearer, maybe lighter, maybe more open, more free. And just take a moment, take a breath, and just think about that. It's actually a wonderful thing to see some smiles come up on your faces as I can see you actually checking in and saying, yeah, here's where I want to be. And you could just see the smiles come up on your faces. The other thing that I would like to do is, just before I go play a song for you here, I'd like to just take a moment here and let's just clean the energy in this room for a second. Not that it needs cleaning, but just make it ours. Just make it ours. Let's just take a look around here, take a breath, and just let anything that needs to be let go in here that's been, or maybe even that might have been brought in, let's just take a breath and just let it go. Just let it go. And then spend a moment with a little bit of appreciation. This beautiful building with the dome up there, the lighting. We've got the beautiful stained glass windows. One of my best friends up there. Beautiful people that come here on a rainy Sunday morning. There's a lot of other places you could be, but here you are. Because you care. There's a lot to be very appreciative about in this room right now. Just take a moment to be appreciative. And I will tell you that I appreciate you being here today. Each and every one of you. So we're going to play a little bit with energy and a little bit more with the questions that the A-team gave me the first night. They said, here's pretty much what we're going to be talking about the whole time we're with you. And it boils down to 2 questions, and I'll let you think about these while I'm playing a song. And they said it really comes down to each and every single one of you in the shift where we're moving into this new space, asking yourself, who do I want to be? Who do I want to be? And how do I want to be? Those are 2 really big questions if you take some time to think about them. You could spend time meditating on those 2 questions every single day. Who do I want to be? And how do I want to be? And you think about, well, who do I want to be? What do you mean? Well, who do you want to be with your relationships? Who do you want to be in your job? Who do you want to be with your family? Who do you want to be with your finances? Who do you want to be with your health, with your eating? Who do you want to be with your driving? It's a good question you ask while you're receiving the one-fingered salute from somebody. Who does he want to be? And who do I want to be while I'm receiving it? I'm number 1, yeah! You're number 1 too, yeah, thank you. But who do you want to be? And how do you want to be? And we're going to talk about that and play with that. As we clear out your energy space, we're going to play a little bit with that as we go here. But I think it's about time to play a song or 2. What do you think? Are you ready to hear some music? All right. This first one is going to kind of mellow, let you float away. check in with appreciation. And by the way, do we have any fathers in here? Do we have any fathers? Can you guys stand up, and we just want to appreciate you for a minute. Thank you. Thank you. Come sail away with me. 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 Under a moonlit sky, we'll ride a sea of diamonds. Dolphins will lead the bow. We'll live and turn them now. Come sail away with me. Come sail away. Under a moonlit sky, we'll ride a sea of diamonds. Mountains will lead the bow. Angels will show us how. Come sail away with me. Come sail away with me. Glide away with the wind at our backs. Oh, we'll follow our hearts to the rainbow's edge. Oh, we'll follow the light. Come sail away with me. Come sail away. With me. Talking about remembering a lot today. We're going to be doing more of that. You know, this space where we really remember who we are. And when you ask yourself the question about who is it that I want to be, It's not so much looking forward about becoming this person that is better than you are right now. It's really more about remembering that you're already that person, that you always have been that person, that somewhere along the way we added some baggage, some story about ourselves that really wasn't true. And now when we say, well, who do you want to be? It's really about, do you remember who you are? And this song is about remembering. When I started this process, this was actually written in 2012, and I followed that line all the way back to the point of, okay, well, remembering who I am and who I truly am in my strength, in my certainty, in my power. And then I got to thinking about what it must have been like for God, the Creator, when she was there before anything else, before the universe, before any of this, before anything. What was happening then? What was this Creator, this magnificent being of power and light and everythingness? What was going on then? What was being felt? And that's where this song came from. This is Remember. Before the grand beginning, I wonder where you were. What was it you were feeling that made you want to start it all? In an instant, a billion stars were born, and somehow I was too, forgetting where I started from, but I won't stop trying to remember, to remember. How could I ever try to know your mind? But in my dreams I felt you through the veiled lines. Across an ocean of space and time, echoes of your love, like ripples on a pool of glass, and I won't stop trying to remember. So, who's heard me talk about the energy field that the A-team has shared with us before? Have I shared that with you guys before? Who knows about? Basically, I'll just cover it real quickly. What they shared with me, and there's a lot of science around this too. There's science that is showing that we emanate electromagnetic energy that extends. There's a lot of different varying opinions on how far it extends. Some say as far out as 30 feet, which I do believe is true. But the real powerful energy field that's really our inner sanctum, that's our personal space, is really about the arm's length. And it's about this way, it's about this way, it's about that way, about an arm's length underneath you. That's your personal energy space. And it's not just a space of a social, cultural space of, oh, dude, you're in my space, back up. It's not so much that, but it's really about your true energy space. In other words, this is my world, this is my energy. Everything on the outside is just a drama of that, of the rest. This in here is mine. This is what I create. And this is what, by cultivating, by loving, by nurturing, this is what emanates into the world. This is what translates into my reality. This is what moves and touches all my relationships. This is the energy that manifests and affects everything in my reality. And we have the power to change that. Now, I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. That you know that if you sit and meditate, it will change how your day goes. It will change how you feel about yourself. That changes how you interact with people. That changes a lot of different things. So the A-team really worked with me about this because they said, look, it's not so much just about knowing that. Now you need to become more intentional because we are in this shift. We're in this space where intention is very, very important, because if you do not set your attentions, if you do not clean your space, if you do not be certain about your space and who it is that you want to be and how you want to be, someone else will make that decision for you. And how many of us have experienced that when we've just kind of been sloppy with our energy, and pretty soon you're thinking thoughts from somebody else or saying things from somebody else, and you go, that's not me. Why am I even saying that? And there's a lot of that going on right now because we're all going through this shift. The entire planet is going through this shift. This isn't just spiritual people going through this. Even people who have no clue about any piece of spirituality or desire to be spiritual, they're going through the shift too. They're just unconscious about it. And that part of consciousness is what we need to address, because all of us have an aspect of unconsciousness within us regarding the shift. And now is the time to say, okay, how do you look at that and change it in terms of how I'm moving forward in my personal experience with the shift? Because we all are moving toward ascension. That's what the shift is. We've agreed to this. The angels have accepted our agreements. The powers that be, the Creator, all of us, it's all done. It's been done for about 19 years now. It's been done. It's gonna happen. And we can't take our baggage with us when we get to this space where we're walking around with the angels and we're heading in that direction. So what we need to do is we need to be intentional and conscious about how we clear our space. Because we can't get through there with anger, with even depression, with anything heavy that's not going to allow us to be light and do the process of ascension the way it's going to occur with this new shift. And how it's going to look, I don't know. And there's a lot of teachers out there that think they know, but there's also a lot of teachers out there that say we don't know how it's going to look, but we know it's going to happen. So, with this energy space, the intention of setting it and cleaning it has never been more important than it is now. So you have this space about like that, about arm's length underneath the legs. That space, if you set the intention even right now, if you just say, this is my space, nothing comes into it without my permission, nothing leaves without my permission, nothing is here unless I deem it to be here for my benefit, for what I want in my life. And We're going to play with this in a minute here. The other aspect that they talk about that I've never heard before, and I've shared this with Steve Roth there, and he actually thought this was pretty cool. By the way, they call the energy space the energy egg. That's what the 18 says. So the energy egg, because it's really easy to visualize an egg. Everybody knows what an egg looks like, what the shape is. So think of your energy field as an egg. And it's got a kind of a shield on the outside. Yeah, you can even, if you want to stand up and just practice here, you can actually do that. But the energy space has a kind of like a bubble on the outside. The inside this energy space is all plasma energy. And we're going to plan to play with this in a minute. When you really start visualizing it and seeing it, first time I saw it, I was pretty amazed because it's even has a texture. If you go into your spiritual space and really just take some time to just get familiar with the energy inside your energy egg, what could be more important than that? I mean, seriously, what's more important about really getting familiar with the energy inside your egg? It's you. Take the time to get to know it, love it, nurture it, treat it, have fun with it. Oh, look at that, that's joy. Oh, that feels a little different than say, certain. Certain has a very good feel to it. That feels different. It looks a little different, how it flows. The light frequencies are slightly different. And if you really go in your mind's eye, you might say, well, I'm just making all this up. This is just silly. I'm just making this up. You can go there if you want. But when the ascension happens and you're sitting there saying, this is all silliness, and you're stuck here with everybody who didn't take any time to do any work with their stuff, and all you're sitting around is heavy energies and frequencies, and that's what you wind up with, it's going to be a difficult and challenging time for those who haven't done their work. And the thing about doing the work is just about loving yourself. That's really all we're doing. We're just saying, what's in my space right now? How can I love it? Because it's not about getting into the fear of not ascending or where am I going to wind up. It's not about going to hell. This isn't anything like that. This is just about which world do you want to live in when this process takes place. Because the ascension is going to be for those who have really taken the time to say, this is who I want to be and this is how I want to be, and it fits with the ascension. It's being certain, it's living in grace, it's living in happiness and joy, laughing a lot. Not being afraid to make a little bit of fun of yourself. I was working with a friend the other day in an office, and all of a sudden I just felt something on top of my head. What's that? I felt something itching my head, and I pulled down, and it was a tiny little green bug fell from the ceiling or something. I don't know where it came from, but it's right on my head, and I started laughing. We looked at each other laughing because he's bald too, and I said, well, it's a good thing I'm bald, because if I have full head of hair, it might still be in there 3 days from now, So, take the time to laugh at yourself. Have some fun with yourself. So this energy space, get to know it. Spend some time just when you're sitting, if you got nothing to do, instead of watching TV, turn it off and just go sit somewhere, take some deep breaths. Just take some time to be with yourself and just imagine the space in your energy egg. Just say, what's here? What's in my space right now? And you may find some things you don't want to be in there. But if you find yourself saying, this is just my imagination, so let it be your imagination. What's more fun than imagining something very beautiful about you, enjoying yourself and nurturing yourself and loving the isness of you? So take the time. It's a lot of fun. And you'll find yourself just becoming refreshed. And I'll tell you something, I've been playing with this a lot more in the last several months. You can also heal from this space. You can command a lot of things with your body. You can command healing. You can command well-being. You can command feeling refreshed, feeling alive. This winter, as we all know, we got a lot of snow. Well, I was doing a lot of shoveling snow, as all of us were. I wound up tearing some tendons in this elbow, which is actually, I don't know if you've ever done that before. It's tennis elbow, essentially. It's the same thing, but it's very painful, and it's pretty much hurts all the time. And the more you use the elbow, the more it hurts. And it even hurts to play the piano. So this was not acceptable. And I put up with it for a couple months, and then finally they just said, well, why don't you just heal it? I said, well, I'm working on it. I'm trying not to use it. I'm taking ibuprofen. I'm putting ice on it. I'm doing everything I can. And I said, no, why don't you just heal it? And I said, okay. So I said, okay, let's try this. What the heck, I'm game. Went in my little space. This is about a month ago. And I said, I just did my own thing. I commanded my elbow to be healed. Said, I don't want this pain anymore. Here's what I do want. Here's how I want to be. Here's who I want to be. Nice elbow, no pain, feeling good. Well, about 3 days later, the pain stopped. It's gone. I'm fine. So, about 3 months before that, I went to a dentist. And they said, you got to have 2 cavities filled. I said, oh, okay. But they didn't take my insurance. They said, it's going to cost you a lot of money in your pocket. So I went to find another dentist. It took about 2 months. I went to the second dentist. And I said, yeah, I got 2 cavities, got to get filled. Went in there about a month ago. Thorough checkup, X-rays. They did where they put your face in the thing. They do the. You ever done that? Boy, that's very strange. It's like, and then they did the thing where they stick the things in your mouth. And it's very uncomfortable. For me, it reacts with the gag reflex. It's not a fun thing. So they did all these X-rays, and she got in there and she said, well, we don't see anything in the X-rays, and let me take a look and get in there and physically look at the teeth and looked around. She said, well, I just don't see any cavities here. I don't see any cavities. And she said, well, let me go call the other dentist. See where they saw these cavities. Called up the other dentist. They said, well, they're right here. And she said, well, I looked. They said, there's no cavities there. And I had done this healing with my elbow. Well, I didn't just do it about my elbow. I did it about my whole body. I just said I want to be healed. I don't want just elbow, but I didn't realize what I was doing is I was healing my body. We can't find the cavities. They're not there anymore. Now, I don't know, maybe, my analytical mind wanted to go, well, maybe the first dentist just was really, this guy has been in business for 40 years. He's a very good dentist in South Minneapolis, comes highly regarded. It's pretty hard to see there's 2 cavities there and see them on the X-rays, and then all of a sudden you take more X-rays and they're gone. So I'm just saying, believe that or not, you can do what you want with it, but I'm just saying there's a lot of possibility here, and I'm just scratching the surface of it, but I'm really excited about it. If we can do that, what else can we do? What else can we do with what it is that we want to change about who we are, how we want to be? So play with this, and don't put any limits on it, because I'm coming to believe, even though I'm analytical and skeptical in a lot of ways, I'm coming closer to just believing that this is an amazing thing that we have, that's a power that's unlimited to us. Healing, changing who it is that we want to be, or maybe getting back to, like I said earlier, remembering the power of who we are. Because when we were created with love, with innocence, with power, with certainty, with grace, with joy. That's who we are. That's who we are. And when you ask yourself the question, who do I want to be? It's not about, like I said, changing into something that you'd like to be, but it's just maybe just remembering there's some things in your energy space that no longer serve you. And that's what I'd like to take a minute or two here. I know we're getting kind of getting close for the day here, but as I've been speaking, much has been happening. Those magic markers have been working their way around the room. So you're going to leave here today, and in the next few days, I'm going to encourage you to drink a lot of water and just be willing to notice what happens. Just be willing to see what pops up in your life. Maybe somebody will contact you haven't heard from in a long time. Maybe get a check in the mail. I don't know. Maybe you'll have something that heals that you've been annoyed with for a while or for one reason or the other, but just be willing to notice it. So the other thing about this energy egg is they said, well, there's 2 hoops on this egg too. If you imagine just a golden hoop. And it goes one goes around like this, perpendicular that way, and the other one comes over the top this way and comes around like that. And these hoops are filled with golden light from the Creator. There's a light in these hoops that is absolutely pure and uncorrupted and cannot be corrupted in any way or shape possible. It just cannot be. This is the light of the Creator. If you take those hoops and spin them in opposite directions, it helps to actually clear the defining edge of your energy space, and it will also pull out anything that you don't want in your space. Now, the other piece is this, is that as you get to practice and play with this, and I encourage you to do it, even if you think it's silly or it may just be imagination, just play with it and see what happens. See what kind of changes you can make in your life. Just see if it works. Try it out. If it doesn't, no harm, no foul. It's just your imagination anyway, right? But what if it isn't? What if this stuff really works? So, right now, we all set the intention before we leave in about 12 minutes. Let's just follow through with that intention. I'm going to just ask you to take a moment, close your eyes. And let's just take a couple of breaths, because the breaths help connect you with your heart. So you want to keep breathing through this process, because then every time you stop, you get in your mind, you'll start having thoughts like, this is silly, or what am I doing, or I could be mowing a lawn, or or I could be whatever. So keep breathing. Just keep breathing. If your mind starts getting critical or saying something, just say, thank you for sharing. Take another breath and connect with your heart. Listen to this beautiful silence in this room right now. Just imagine this energy space now. See yourself sitting inside this energy egg. For now, you can do a third-person visioning of this so that it would look like you're actually watching a movie. You're seeing this light body inside of this energy egg. The light body is very intense golden light. The edges may be sharply defined, or they might be slightly diffused. It doesn't matter. However you see it is however it is for you. Remember to breathe. Keep breathing. Take a breath into the heart. Connect yourself. Look at that image. Ask yourself, for today, for this moment, for right now, when I leave here today, is there anything in this space that no longer serves me? It may, as you're viewing this movie, it may look like a dark spot. It may look like a odd colored string of yarn, or it may be just an image of something very particular, specific. And maybe even a thought that you know you've been carrying with yourself in this space that you no longer want to carry. Remember, this is your space, and you can just say, spin the hoops. Watch them spin. They will spin at the speed necessary. You don't have to worry about that. As these hoops spin, watch them drawing this piece of energy, this piece of information, this old story out of your egg. Watch it being pulled right out of the egg. You can bless it if you like. Say thank you for your gifts, because I did invite you in. You've been there a long time, or maybe a short time. Either way, say thank you. But you're no longer needed. Take a breath for a moment. Feel how the space feels now with that cleaned out. Is there anything else there? Now, one of the things we asked about is feeling lighter. feeling clear when you leave today. So maybe set the intention right now as you view this space. For this energy egg to clear anything that's heavy, that weighs you down, feels unnecessary, no longer serving you. Just ask it to leave. Feel clear. You might see the plasma around your golden light body just start looking clearer and cleaner. You may ask for yourself to feel lighter in this space. Anything that's heavy that doesn't serve you, just ask it to clear out, lighten up. And as we wrap up today, know that you can do this anytime. And I encourage you to play with this. Take a breath. And now, you've been watching this movie in third person. I'm going to ask that you take this golden light body and you just impose it. Move it right over into your heart, right into your space, so that now, instead of watching the movie as a third person, you actually have the golden light body inside your heart. And now, as you open your spiritual eyes and look into your egg, you can see the plasma floating around you. You can see what it is that's floating out. You can feel the emotions, the feelings, the love, the joy, the laughter. You can feel us all swirling about you. It's a beautiful thing. You see these hoops so gently spinning now as they've done their work. You feel the love here. This is what you've created. This is who you are. This is your universe. Everything outside this egg is out there. It's just a theater being played outside. All this inside, this is you. So you just take a moment or two here, and when you're comfortable, take a breath and open your eyes and notice the room about you. Colors may seem brighter, may look a little different here. Certainly does to me. So let me ask you this. Getting ready to leave a few minutes, we're going to bring up the collections here, and we're going to give our gratitude for this beautiful space that we have here in a moment or two. But I'm going to ask if you have met with your intentions to feel lighter, clear, more filled with light than when you walked in here. Would you say that you've done that? Would you raise your hand if you feel like that? Okay. How many of you feel like that you might actually be able to play with this a little bit more just in your own space and your own time? I hope you do, and I would love to hear. I'll be here again, and I would love to hear your experiences, how it goes. Tell me what you've done with it. Because, my friends, I'll tell you, there's a lot of teachers out there, and one that I studied with, Jim Self, like I said, he used to say, look, all this stuff that I'm sharing with you doesn't mean that I'm smarter than you, better than you, more spiritual, none of that. Just means I got the download just a half a step in front of you, and you're just a half a step there, ready to take the step right in. And when you take that step, you'll be a half step in front, and you'll be helping pass it on and pay it forward. That's the process that's going on here. So be willing to be exceptional. Be willing to grow. Be willing to be the wonderful, powerful, certain, gracious being that you've always been. And when you start being that every minute, every moment, and that's where the challenge lies, that we can do this every minute, every moment of our lives, with every breath. We're that. When we can do that, you're going to start changing the world. And you're already doing it in your own ways. Let's step it up, and it's going to be fun to play with these energies, and I can't wait to see how you blossom with your stuff. I'm going to continue playing with this, and as I get more information, we'll continue to play, but these light strings that we talked about have been swirling around here for the last 45 minutes, and like I said, much is going to be happening even over the next couple days. So be willing to be surprised, to be delighted, to be uplifted and enlightened, as opposed to enlightened, but enlightened. And just have fun with this. So if we can start, we're going to take the time to just, Lake Harriet Spiritual Community puts on these beautiful services every Sunday. They've got all kinds of things going on. This beautiful building is here that we can come and we can experience these things. It's really something to be very appreciative about, and they need our support. So when we pass the plates, it's really more about just sharing your love, your appreciation, and helping this place to kind of thrive and move into its own. And if you can show your heart's appreciation, that would be appreciated by all of us here at Lake Harriet. I'd like to just have us play with a little bit with sound. I'm a certified sound healer, and one of the things I like to do is play with sound. But there's the chorus on this is very simple for those of you that haven't heard it. It's just like this, and then there's one chord I want us to do together here, really purposely and with intention, right here. I am. And when you hear that, just feel it in your chest. Feel the vibrations in your chest. Feel vibrations and transferring to the person next to you and across the circle. And let's just play with this and have some fun. We are children of the stars, we are made of sacred light. We carry in our hearts the sound of one. I am, I am, I am. I am, I am, I am. Feel it in your heart. I am, I am, I am, I am. Here you go. We are one with the infinite. We shine with magnificence. We carry in our soul the light of one. I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. Oh, 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 I am. I am. I am. I am. And I will carry this love throughout this day. With a heart full of gratitude, I will pray. I am, I am, I am. Oh Lord, I am, I am, I am. I want to sing it out loud. I am, I am, I am. Oh, I am. I am.
Thank you for coming. Go out and be the wonderful, beautiful beings you are today.